30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee, featuring Tennessee Radio Hall of Famer George Plaster, Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame coach Watson Brown, and Young Guns Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in. It is a Friday. And for that, I say, thank God. Yeah. Good mood because it's Friday. Ready for a big sports weekend as we welcome all of you into the beautiful new digs that we have at the Ford Ice Center in Bellevue. Things have been fairly quiet here, but they're really going to heat up next week when we begin our Wilson Bank and Trust Sports Speaker Series. Barry Trotz will be here next Thursday. We'll do it as sort of a lunch deal where you can get out of work, come out here, see it, and then get back to work without getting fired. Do we have a graphic to support this fine deal?
We do. David's working on it right now.
Is he really?
Mm-hmm.
Looks to me like he's got it. There it is. If you want to come to this, and you should want to come to it, we're going to have a big old crowd, but there's still room for you to get in this weekend if you will RSVP by sending me an email, plastergeorge@gmail.com. Again, plastergeorge@gmail.com. We are going to have a big crowd to welcome Barry Trotz back to Nashville. Kelly Holcomb has the day off. Watson Brown rejoins us sometime in early July. We will absolutely look forward to that. Billy, how are you today?
I'm great, George. I can't wait for Watson to be back.
Why is that?
You know, Kelly, I don't know if David agrees. It's a different tone, but he keeps you on your toes. So you can't.
No, he's up your rear end a little bit.
But
and
no,
you don't like that.
It's a different. I never had any of that really from Watson.
Right.
You know?
Do you think Kelly's criticisms are constructive?
It doesn't feel like it.
No, it never does.
It doesn't feel like it, but but he's always on our shirts. He would be all over.
You know, he can lighten up about the damn shirts. I'm tired of hearing about them.
You could come here with a plain white T-shirt and he'd have something to say about it.
Yeah, absolutely. But somehow David has escaped Kelly's wrath so far. What do you think is strategically working for you?
I think just the fact that we're both the new guys with the show, we have that edge over you guys, the two veterans of the show.
That's a good point.
So we got to team up.
What
together.
Did he say yesterday about you? He said something.
Kindred spirit.
Yeah, he said, I've got a kindred spirit with David.
Whatever. I'll tell you what else he doesn't like. Put me on the big screen for a minute. He has a hard time with this.
He hates the plaque.
Well, you know what? Then we should put it out there more often. Anything he hates, we should do more.
You're just
like the bowling T-shirts.
So
he hated those.
You're just going to needle them.
Oh, absolutely. You think I'm going to give in to that level of terrorism?
Well, the other thing about Kelly is that he doesn't ever fold or break. I mean, he's always it's serious, and then he'll sort of laugh it off.
Yeah.
That's the best thing about him.
Oh, Kelly's a piece of work. We're thrilled to have him involved with us. Do we have anything resembling an update? By the way, we got a really good show today.
Loaded.
Very football-oriented. Howard Balzer, one of the veteran reporters of NFL stuff over the years, will join us from out in Phoenix. We're going to find out, are the Titans and the Cardinals breaking bread? Are they doing something concerning the third pick? Herm Edwards will join us at 3 o'clock on the button. That in and of itself is worth the price of admission. But this week, we're going to get into college football recruiting salary cap stuff. See what he thinks, because his school, his old school, Arizona State, had the lowest budget in the Pac-12.
Wow.
How about that?
Yeah, I'm sure he'll have a few words on that.
Oh, yeah.
George, real quick, this is producer stuff. Could you move a little bit towards me?
You're never satisfied with where I am.
I've got awful OCD. So
what is OCD?
It's everything's got to be organized. I don't know what that stands for.
Okay, does that make you feel better?
There you go.
Now I'm in the middle.
I've got to have.
But look what happened to my sign with all the background stuff. Let's get this thing the hell out of here.
George, you mentioned Barry Trotz earlier as he throws the sign out. His Preds beat the Wild last night in a wild fashion. Wild goal 4-3.
Have you seen how the winning goal was scored?
I have. Unbelievable. Between the legs game winner. And after the game, Parsonen said he has no idea how he came up with the idea to make that move on the game winner. Unbelievable. I mean, crazy way. That's the goal of the season.
You know, sitting up in 304 row 1, I knew he did something different, but it was only when I got home that I fully understood between his legs. I don't know how you do that.
He made it look so easy.
He did.
And he had a little shrug after, like, it was something easy. They got Colorado tonight. Final game of the year.
And this is going to be hard because Colorado is going to play for keeps. There's a lot on the line for them. There was essentially nothing on the line for Minnesota last night.
Yeah, they didn't seem too interested. But they're
but when your goaltender does well, you can get away with some things.
Yeah.
Their goaltending was pretty good.
Well, speaking of goaltending, George, the Preds, Saros will have to have another big game tonight because Colorado will be interested. But George, you get to play.
I wonder if they play him back-to-back nights.
Saros?
Yeah.
It's the last game of the season. Why not?
Well, that's the one way to look at it.
That feels like the mindset they're in right now. Just sort of screw it, last game of the year. I had a buddy who had offered me tickets to the game last night. I told him no.
Yeah, you're a fool.
And my excuse was that the Preds are eliminated, but of course that's
so weak.
I missed the goal of the season.
David, the hell kind of attitude is that?
I really wanted to go tonight. Last home game of the year. Couldn't get a ticket, so
dang.
Where was my invite?
It doesn't sound like you tried all that hard.
Well,
what was the effort level on a scale of 1 to 10?
I'd say a 5.
A 5, yeah.
Did you enjoy it last night, George?
Yes, I did.
Looked like a good crowd.
It was very good.
Well, we'll see if the crowds are good tonight in the NBA play-in games. The battle for the 8 seeds. Chicago at Miami at 6 o'clock. Winner plays Milwaukee. Then Oklahoma City at Minnesota at 8:30. The winner of that will play Denver. George, here's a stat on the NBA play-in games. The past 4 number 8 seed games in the play-in tournament have been won by the lower seed team 3 times. The 10 seed Bulls and the 10 seed Thunder are both plus 5.5 against the spread and plus 180 on the money line tonight. So for any bettors out there, you might want to take a look at those 2 teams tonight.
You just piped down.
Is that not where?
When did you take over as our gambling expert?
Well, I saw that stat today, and you never know.
You may be right about that. Who knows?
The Thunder are a good young team with Josh Giddey and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. So that combo be fun tonight against Karl Anthony Towns in Minnesota.
All of a sudden, I'm starting to get back into the NBA playoffs.
Pressure's on Minnesota, though. This is a game they got to win.
Sure do.
They should have beat the Lakers the other night up by double digits.
Yeah.
Let them get back in the game. Couldn't shoot down the stretch.
No.
Anthony Edwards has to show up. He did not shoot good in LA.
What was he? Did I hear 3 of 19?
Wasn't good. Short on everything. So maybe it's nerves in the playoffs, but we'll see.
Keep going.
Other news, golf, Rory McIlroy was reportedly docked $3 million for withdrawing from this week's RBC Heritage Tournament under the new PGA rules regarding designated events. According to Golf Digest, the fine is for a second absence for a designated event. So these are events that are quote-unquote mandatory for these golfers. $3 million.
That's some pretty good chump change right there.
It's not pocket change.
So who gets that money?
I would assume PGA.
I would assume the tour.
How about a charity? How about helping somebody?
I don't think PGA is for that.
How about give it to Last Minute Toy Store?
With Dale Roble.
Why not?
He'd love it.
Hey, they could do a whole lot worse. I wonder where that money goes.
That's a good question.
I have a feeling I know.
I also have a feeling Roy will be fine with his venture with Tiger coming up.
Yeah, he'll make it all up. pretty quickly.
George, the Braves have called up Vaughn Grissom, and they've placed Orlando Arcia on the 10-day DL with a fractured left wrist. He's played really well in Gwinnett. He's slashing .366, .458, .585, 4 RBIs so far in 10 games with the Stripers. So Grissom coming up. This is his opportunity.
So let's see. Arcia, Travis d'Arnaud, Max Fried.
Another one bites the dust.
Raciel Iglesias. Michael Harris.
Goodness gracious. That's ridiculous.
They've got a bunch.
Colin
McHugh, and yet, at least so far, they're surviving.
What do they have in their Gatorade?
I don't know, but they need to mix it up a little.
Wow.
Put a little vodka in there.
I saw a stat. They're missing 40% of their opening day lineup.
Yeah, it's not good.
But they're still the betting favorites to win the World Series.
Well,
at plus 550.
The beauty is you've got 5.5 months to get healthy.
Right.
They need to.
But I think we'll have a different tune if they're still banged up here in a couple months, maybe in the middle of the season, around the All-Star break.
That can't continue.
Then it starts to heat up, the pressure cooker in Atlanta. So we'll see what Grissom's got. He'll join them, I'm guessing, in the lineup tonight in Kansas City. So
I would think so.
Quick little trip from Gwinnett to KC. Speaking of baseball, a lot of good SEC baseball around the country this weekend. George, South Carolina is at Hawkins Field tonight, take on Vanderbilt. Bryce Cunningham on the mound. No Carter Holton. I'm hearing this weekend. So I would assume that's rest, right? He's got a future ahead of him.
Who's Tennessee got?
Tennessee is in Fayetteville to face Arkansas.
They'll be calling the Hogs.
Yes, they will.
That's a really good series. Great pitching matchups all the way around right there.
That's a big old stadium. That thing Arkansas has seats about 12.
Yeah, they've got a bunch in the outfield, a lot of space in the outfield too. Fun place to watch a game. Tennessee's back-to-back series losses against LSU and Florida. So they need this one tonight. LSU, number one team in the country. They've got Kentucky at home. They won 16-6 last night in game one. So Tigers are rolling. A lot of good rivalry games. Georgia and Florida, Auburn and Alabama, Ole Miss, Mississippi State. So if you're a baseball fan, this is the weekend for you.
Might we be done with the update?
We are done, George.
Okay. I see in the background a guy who we have had on numerous times, and we'll bring him up after the break. Howard Balzer has great info. So pay attention to what it is he's saying. I used to listen to him on KMOX out of St. Louis. The guy knows his stuff. So get ready. This is going to be fun. Let me talk to you about the folks at Action 24/7. The NBA playoffs, they're here. You're probably betting on them. The question is, are you using Action 24/7? Well, use the promo code GEORGE and get a 300% discount on everything up to $20. Billy, are you assuming I've memorized this?
Potentially. You did a good job there.
Action 24/7 is Tennessee's only locally owned and operated sports book, and I say that for a reason. These are local people. They want to do well locally. They want local business. And so they treat you as though you're a neighbor. If you've got a question or a dispute, they're going to get back to you. That's what good folks here in this state do. So download the app or visit action247.com to start all that winning, and please bet responsibly.
How am I going to get to work? My car's totaled.
Skylar, our team is making a call right now. We'll get you a rental car. Don't worry.
That's a relief.
Call us 24/7. We're here. We're going to help.
Year number 2 of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night was awesome. And the reason is really simple. I chose Strike and Spare, and they were amazing. They have great food, great bowling, and a staff that is truly ready to go the extra mile to help you. They have 5 family fun centers in the area to choose from. And for more info, go to strikeandspare.com or call them at 615-824-5685. Now that the weather has gotten considerably warmer, there's not a better place to spend a morning or an afternoon than Riverside Golf Links. So you've probably noticed the weather has gotten a lot warmer, and that means a couple of things in Nashville. It means baseball, and it really means golf. And for me, it's a visit to Riverside Golf Links. The course has improved dramatically. There are now 27 holes, including a 9-hole executive course. If you want tee times or more information, dial them up at 615-847-5074.
You can't see the sights without the sounds. From the crack of the bat to the roar of the crowd and everything in between, discover what Hit City has to offer. Spend your nights cheering on the Nashville Sounds at First Horizon Park with giveaways, fireworks shows, theme weekends, and more. Single game tickets are on sale now. Visit NashvilleSounds.com to claim your seat today.
So am I allowed 10 seconds for a little promo?
Yes, you are.
Baseball's all-time hit king, Pete Rose, will join us Monday on this show at 2:18 p.m. How about that?
Well, not too bad.
Yeah. Looking forward to it.
Should be interesting.
Oh, yeah. Now, this will be interesting as well. As I mentioned earlier, I have listened to Howard Balzer for years, most of it out of St. Louis through KMOX. He has now moved out to the Valley of the Sun out in the Phoenix area. He's co-host of a weekly Hall of Fame radio show on Sirius XM. The man's info is good. Howard, how are you?
Doing well. And I'll tell you, it's an honor that in this same time slot on Monday, the Hit King will be there because we did some radio together in Las Vegas many, many years ago.
I'll tell him you said hello.
Yeah, definitely do that.
Hey, tell me this. Before we get started on the Arizona Cardinals, are the Diamondbacks getting there?
I think they really are. They have a good young team. They've signed, long-term deals. Some of the young players. The pitching needs a little work, especially in the bullpen. But they showed it last year that they were an improving team, and now they've picked up and began this season pretty strong. Especially when you consider they opened in the first week with a whole bunch of games against the Dodgers, and they won most of them. That was pretty impressive, especially after losing the first game of the season to the Dodgers. So yeah, I think now what's for real. I don't know if they're a true playoff competitor, but I think they can. With the way it is now in baseball, with the wild card teams, I think they could probably at least be in the hunt for most of the season with that. And they're built, like I said, they're building a nice young team.
On to the Cardinals, where it's been a very interesting week out there. We got a lot to get into. Let's start with the obvious draft stuff. Right now, they've got the third pick, and everybody out there seems to be chasing them for the third. Schefter put it out there that there are 6 teams that are actively talking with Arizona, but I don't believe he listed the 6.
No.
Howard, who do you think the 6 are?
Well, first, I think it was interesting because there's been talk about this pick for a while now. And what Adam tweeted was at least 6 have inquired about the Cardinals. And everyone reacted like this was groundbreaking information and news. I made the point that the real news would have been if it had been reported that no teams were inquiring with the Cardinals about that third pick, because this stuff goes on all the time in the NFL. Teams are constantly talking to teams. Hey, what will it take to trade up? What are you looking for? All those different things. And of course, a lot depends obviously on what happens with the first two choices. But there's some who think that picking right behind them, the Colts could be one of those six, because and someone say, well, why trade up over only one spot once we assume the first two quarterbacks go? Well, somebody else could trade in front of the Colts and get a guy that they want. So it could be them. Some have mentioned the Titans, as a possibility. There's been many teams that have been mentioned, because it doesn't have to be for a quarterback. I mean, if the top two guys go, then it could very well be that a team wants to get into that third spot to get a Will Anderson Jr. or whoever they might think is, the best non-quarterback in the draft, and that team wants to make sure that they get them. So I think the Cardinals are just listening, fielding offers, and I think that's the most likely thing that's going to happen on the night of the first night of the draft, is that they will trade down if, again, the right package is there and enough extra picks that they can continue trying to rebuild this roster.
Howard, what do you think their asking price is, or at this point, do they really even know?
Well, I think they have some general parameters to it, but again, a lot depends on how far do the Cardinals have to trade down. I mean, if you're trading down one spot, then certainly you're not going to get as much as if you were trading down 4, 5, 6, however many picks. And then also that affects it is the team. Most of the time, if a team's trading up to get a quarterback, they will give more than if it's just if it's a non-quarterback. So all of those things affect it. And so most are saying, hey, if you're going to trade down, get another pick in this draft, whether it's a second, who knows? If it's a quarterback and they're trading down several spots, maybe you pick up a number one pick next year. And so, but all those things are unknown right now, because we don't know how the first two picks are going to go, even though everyone thinks they know. And who knows? The Texans could upset the apple cart and not take a quarterback at number 2. I'll tell you, the Cardinals would love that, because then you'd think that there would be a real play for that pick from a team who wants the quarterback that the Panthers did not select.
Okay, this opens up all kinds of different ways I can go. Now, I may be in Nashville and have some level of pulse of what the Titans are thinking or not thinking. But Howard, you and my buddy John McClain, you guys go way back in this. When you look at the Titans, do they even have the draft capital right now to make this kind of a move?
Well, you certainly always have the picks in future years as a possibility. And, the question is if they would want to move up that high. That would take a lot of extra capital because what they're there at 11, right? And so that's a big jump, certainly. And so that's obviously something to consider. Do they really feel that it's worth trading up that far, especially if it's a non-quarterback? I mean, here's the thing. You never know, because most of the information that gets put out there at this time of the year, there's an agenda to it, and it's just trying to confuse everybody, so to speak, and make everyone think or wonder what's going to happen. But I think there's a lot of ways to skin a cat and a lot of ways to make a deal. And so if the Titans were truly convinced that was the right move, then I think they would find a way to get it done. I'm just not convinced that it makes that much sense for them to trade up that far.
With Arizona having a new coach, do you think new coaches in the honeymoon period get more of a say, get more of a, hey, what do you want? This is your regime, and we want you to be happy?
Well, I mean, if you're talking about what do you want in terms of a specific player or a specific position, I mean, the reality is that the Cardinals need so much that Jonathan Gannon could say, hey, we need a pass rusher. Hey, we need a backup running back to James Conner. If we trade DeAndre Hopkins, hey, we need a wide receiver. We need inside help on the defensive line. So they need so many things. It's not that hard to figure that out. Now, if it's a specific player, I think Gannon, he'd be asked his opinion, strong in between, let's say, 2 or 3 edge rushers. I think he's going to lean on, Monty Ossenford, of course, came over from Tennessee and the scouting staff to have the guys ranked the way they think is best and get the best guy at the position that they need the most. Although, like I said, they need so much that you can make a case for just about, a lot of different players, whether they draft with that third pick, whether they go, a little bit later. There's enough good players in the draft that you should be able to get a very good one. So again, I think he'll have a certain amount of input, but I think he's going to defer to the guys who have been working at this for a long time.
Howard, the fact that the front office has Titan ties in Arizona, does that make it more likely something could happen or less likely?
I think it's probably somewhere, in between, but there's no doubt that when you have familiarity with the people making the decisions, that it can be a little easier, perhaps a little easier to try to figure out how to get a deal done. And so, especially when you have, people who are doing this for the first time. I mean, that's the one reality of it. It's, it's one thing to be involved in the personnel and making the picks and having input in that. It's another thing to be the one making the decision about trades and what's the best option. And do we do this? Do we do that? And Jonathan Gannon spoke to the media the other day when the offseason program opened, and he said, hey, we do have conversations every day about different scenarios. And does this make sense? Does this make better sense? Should we stay where we are, whatever it might be? So he is having those conversations. But, I think with the Titans, just the fact that, some of the people there can help it, but you're still trying to get the best deal. And that's obviously what the Titans would be doing too, if they entertain that, that possibility or that option to trade up.
Okay, here's where I get really confused, and you got to help me here. The subject is Kyler Murray. There was a day in time where the Arizona franchise seemed to be in love with Kyler Murray. He can scramble around. He can dart around. The previous head coach, gave us the love fest about him. And then all of a sudden, about a year ago, stuff started to seem to unravel. Playoff loss against the Rams where they weren't very competitive. The contract thing where they sort of intimated that, hey, he doesn't work as hard as we need him to, so we're going to put this dumb clause in, which caught all kinds of crap. So what is the real temperature of the Cardinal front office about Kyler Murray?
It's a great question, because truly what they really think right now, we don't know. Obviously, what has been said is, and Jonathan Gannon has said it multiple times, hey, we need, take advantage of his skill set. We need to be able to do this. And I know what it was like. They played the Eagles last season, and the Cardinals gave him a heck of a game. And Murray had a pretty good game in that one. So that's what he says. Now, what do they really believe deep down? Do they think that this style of quarterbacking, I've asked the question, do you really believe this style of quarterbacking is sustainable, where you're running a lot? And the one reality, aside from all the independent study clause and talk about maturity, the reality is that Kyler Murray's had 8 different injuries in 4 seasons with the Cardinals, and 5 of them are to his legs. And so to me, that's a question not only for the Cardinals, but for every team in the league. Is that style of quarterback sustainable over time? We've already heard Sean McDermott of the Bills talk about Josh Allen needs to run less, protect himself. Justin Fields with the Bears, offensive coordinator Luke Getsy said it has to be a part of his game, but not the biggest part of his game. And so that to me is one of the biggest questions. But I do think that they also know that you have to surround him, which is true of any quarterback, surround him with a good offensive line that can protect him, and players that can make plays. And quite frankly, that was what really went wrong for this team at the end of 2021 and for most of the season last year until Murray got hurt. They were a horribly injured team that was missing a lot of players. Murray played hurt at the end of both 2020 and 2021. He wasn't the same guy then. DeAndre Hopkins missed games. Then he missed games at the beginning of this past season because of a suspension. So it just collapsed around him, and that made him look bad. But I never thought it should be pinned on him only. because there were a lot of reasons for what happened. Now they're in the mode of figuring out how to build it around him. Talk of trading Hopkins. Then what do you do with that position? The offensive line right now needs a left guard and a center. And so there's so many areas here that need to be upgraded. But bottom line, again, is that in terms of your opening question is, it's hard to know what they truly feel, but they are locked into a difficult contract that for now isn't bad, but takes a huge jump in salary cap and all of that, starting in a year or two. So he's going to have to come back and stay healthy and play well for him to stay here long term, I believe. And I think deep down, I think that's what the Cardinals are actually thinking.
Okay, here's where I'm really going to get weird. Do you think there has ever been a phone call in the middle of all this where the Cardinals have said to the Ravens, hey, you've got a problem, we've got a problem. How about let's swap quarterbacks, knowing that both sort of fit the other system if we could find a way? You get where I'm going.
Yeah, no, I do get where you're going. I think the thing that would make it unrealistic, and I would doubt that a call has been made basically because of the salary cap. And if you traded Kyler Murray, you would take a huge hit in the cap, and then you'd be bringing on Lamar Jackson and have to deal with a guy who doesn't even have an agent and then give him the big money and wonder if he's going to get hurt. And I think that's been the big factor in Baltimore with the guaranteed money and all that. You're going to give the guaranteed money to a guy who runs a lot and has missed, games at the end of each of the last two seasons. So I think the Lamar Jackson problem, that the Ravens have is not going away quickly, I don't think. And so, but yeah, in terms of, making that deal, there's, and you'd be picking up Jackson. And if you don't get him signed right away at that $32 million cap hit for the franchise tender, would he even sign it? So again, you'd have to sign him and then, take the hit for what you would in dead money for Kyler Murray. And I just think it would be pretty unrealistic, at least at this point.
Okay, help me with this whole Michael Bidwell, Terry McDonough deal, which has the league buzzing.
Yep.
Is there anything to it?
It seems like there is. I've always believed that when there's smoke, there's fire. And we could spend almost an entire show talking about that situation. But it's, there was so much to it because you had the one issue of the allegations that Bidwell distributed burner phones when Steve Keim was going to be suspended 5 years ago. So personnel people could communicate with him during that time. And the thing that makes you believe that it was true is that Steve Wilkes was the head coach of the Cardinals then. And he has sued the Cardinals on the heels of the Brian Flores suit. He joined that and then had specific allegations against the Cardinals for what happened in his 1 year as the head coach of the team. But within his claim, he called the suspension of Steve Keim, which was by the team, he called that suspension a so-called suspension and said there was evidence of conversations between people in the Cardinals and Steve Keim during his suspension. So it makes you believe that that part of it is true. And McDonough also leveled allegations about a toxic work environment that existed there. And now we just had this week a story coming out from a former club president, a guy by the name of Ron Miniger, who in a sense corroborated what McDonough said. And he put it in a letter to Michael Bidwell in 2019, which was the year after the burner phone allegations, when that incident allegedly occurred. So, and people I talk to, George, people tell me, people who have worked there, and they wouldn't address some of the specific things about toxicity and things like that against women and minorities. But a couple people have told me that Michael Bidwell's an equal opportunity guy going after people, that no matter who you are, you walk on eggshells when you work for that team on a daily basis. So there seems to be a lot of smoke, and we'll see how this all plays out. And obviously the NFL hopes it goes away, but there's a lot of people that aren't surprised by a lot of what has been revealed. Let's put it that way.
Good Lord. That's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and I just scratched the surface.
Oh, I know you did. I know you did. So where can they hear the rest of it?
Well, I had a story on gophnx.com, a local website here in Phoenix, where I wrote a story last week and got into a lot of depth on it, and also was shocked. One of the biggest shocks to me, and it kind of shows a disconnect that Michael Bidwell has at times with reality. And it was one thing to respond to McDonough's arbitration claim, by saying that, oh, this is not true, we look forward to our day in arbitration and all those things. But they leveled personal shots at Terry McDonough from an outside PR guy, as if Michael Bidwell felt that he could distance himself from the things that were said because it was written by someone else. Well, they had to approve it, and they had to give the guy the information, and had allegations in there of domestic abuse and things like that. So I thought they went over the top. I wrote about that last week. I haven't followed up yet on the Miniger report because I have a few other angles that I'm pursuing, but that's where people can find me. And of course, you mentioned the weekly Pro Football Hall of Fame show I have on Sirius XM NFL Radio.
Great info. I knew it would be. Howard, thank you so much for doing this, and look forward to having you on again sometime in the near future.
Anytime. Always enjoy it. Take care, and thanks for the kind words.
He's really good. Howard Balzer is one of those NFL information people going back a long time who has great info. So we were thrilled to be able to get him on. When we go to the break, we're going to come back and talk NBA playoffs. The Grizz, obviously part of that, and we'll talk through what ought to be a busy weekend in round ball. Stick around. This is the George Plaster Show.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
Hockey in Music City just hits different. It's one big honky-tonk party. It's the sea of gold in the crowd, the goals, the saves, the celebrations. It's an experience like no other. Experience Predators hockey all season long. Visit NashvillePredators.com/season tickets and join the Loyal Legion today. That's NashvillePredators.com/tickets, and we'll see you at Bridgestone Arena.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank & Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank & Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank & Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Family owned and operated for more than 2 decades, Alaco Fine Wood Floors is Nashville and Middle Tennessee's choice for premium quality hardwood floors. Since 1995, Jimmy Alaco and his army of employees have embodied the approach of taking pride in one's craft and providing superior customer service, growing from a one-man shop to a team of 23 professionals who share the founder's passion for quality craftsmanship and customer satisfaction. If you are interested in contacting them, you can find their headquarters at 2505 Winford Avenue in Berry Hill, or give them a call at 615-356-5700. 615-356-0303. Again, that's 615-356-0303. Or log on to alacofinewoodfloors.com. Alaco Fine Wood Floors, serving Middle Tennessee's hardwood flooring needs since 1995.
At Baird, we have a different slant on global financial advice. That global capabilities mean nothing without personal attention. We have investor relationships in 35 countries and market expertise in over 40 industry verticals, all to help make the most important investment connections of all, yours. Global financial advice with a client-first approach. It's the shape of things to come. Discover the Baird difference at BairdDifference.com.
We are back, and when we begin the show on Monday, we've been able to confirm that baseball's all-time hit leader, Peter Edward Rose, will be a part of the show. He'll join us Monday at 2:18. That right there should be worth the price of admission.
Sure should, George. That's going to be unbelievable. I have never talked to Pete Rose, so
I have saw him play numerous times. Big Red Machine, in my opinion, the best baseball team of my, I guess, lifetime. That mid-'70s team. You think about the names you can throw out there. Just listen to this. Johnny Bench behind the plate, Hall of Fame. Tony Perez, unbelievable clutch RBI man. The late Joe Morgan, a National League MVP. Dave Concepcion at short. Holy cow. Rose at third. George Foster in left. Cesar Geronimo in center. Ken Griffey Sr. in right. That's a pretty damn good everyday 8, if I do say so.
How did they get that good? I mean, how in the world do you have that much talent?
Well, they made a trade with the Astros that involved sending Lee May to Houston that got them Morgan, got them some pitching. Some of it was farm system. Everybody hit at the right time. And then Sparky Anderson, you think about the egos that were part of that. Sparky Anderson must have done a brilliant job at handling all of that. And certainly when we get Pete on, we'll ask him about it. Now, to the NBA playoffs this weekend, besides the games tonight, here is the weekend slate that's out there. Billy, I'm going to make the claim, the opening game, Brooklyn no longer has Kevin Durant. They no longer have Kyrie Irving.
Sweep.
That's what I think. On the other hand, if Brooklyn somehow won this series, Doc Rivers is out in Philly. You can take that one to the bank.
Oh, I mean, that'd be the easiest call to make ever.
Atlanta at Boston might be more interesting than people think. The Hawks are playing pretty good basketball with a new coach, Quinn Snyder, who appears to have gotten more out of Trae Young than Nate McMillan was able to. I think Boston wins the series, but I think it goes 6 or 7. Tatum
and Trae Young. That's a good matchup.
Superstars.
Yeah. And I think the Hawks getting by that play-in portion, they're probably feeling pretty good right now. So that might be more interesting than people think. I agree.
I know Boston's breathing a sigh of relief. They've had to play Miami the past 2 years in the playoffs, both really physical teams, physical series. I think they're happy to draw Atlanta with Trae Young, but that duo of Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum is pretty special.
The other thing about Boston is they don't feel like they could win this series and then win the next one, but they don't feel threatening to me. Like I don't think they can win the finals. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a missing piece. I feel like they have the pieces. There's something about Boston that I don't necessarily trust. even if they get to the conference finals in the East, right? Like, I don't know. There's something about the Celtics that they just can't get past that hump.
David, I want you to do something in a minute. I want you to go StubHub and get me price tag on Sacramento tomorrow night.
Okay, sounds
This is
good.
the first time they've been in the playoffs in 20 years. I know I'm getting ahead of myself. The Knicks in Cleveland feels like a 7-game series. The Knicks are pretty darn good, and so is Cleveland with Nashvilleian Darius Garland, who has become not a really good player in the league, but a downright superstar.
I can't wait to watch this series. Should be a fun one. It'll be in Cleveland starting game 1 Saturday night. And, George, there's a lot of good guard play in this series. Jalen Brunson has been phenomenal for the Knicks. Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland on the same team in Cleveland. You're going to see a lot of good guard play in that series.
I think a lot of it, though, comes down to the health of a former Kentucky Wildcat. Julius Randle apparently will not be 100%, and that's big. Now, Julius Randle is a ball hog and probably takes about 5 shots a game too many, but that's a piece of offense they need.
Yeah, they might need him.
So the bottom game on that list has some real dramatics to it. It's in prime time for a reason. Sacramento ended up the 3 seed in the West, and you're saying, I haven't seen Sacramento in 15 years. Well, the truth of it is they haven't seen the playoffs in 20 years. Brand new owner who really infused a lot of stuff into that franchise. And I'm telling you, and we'll probably get it confirmed by David here in a minute, the Sacramento community, first of all, they're only separated, I want to say, by about 100 miles.
Yep.
The Sacramento community is on fire for the Kings. So let's get prices.
So the cheapest ticket upstairs in section 219, $311 for one ticket.
Where would that be?
Upstairs.
Upstairs,
Top row.
where?
Top.
Sideline, end zone?
Why does it matter? I mean, you're
Sideline.
upstairs.
It'd be sideline.
Okay. $319. Down low, what would it cost?
$1,247, half court, section 120.
Oops. Won't be sitting at midcourt.
Mm-mm.
Come to think of it, I won't be there.
I don't have any intentions of going to Sacramento either.
Here's the thing. Golden State has had all these troubles on the road. What have they lost, like 30 road games? The number is staggering for a team that has as much veteran stuff as they do. I don't know. This series is going to be interesting.
George, the Kings have the pieces, right? They've got seemingly every piece. De'Aaron Fox, one of the best point guards in the league. Sabonis is a bona fide all-star. I mean, he is a beast down low. Malik Monk, Harrison Barnes, Trey Lyles. I mean, they've got depth, real depth that can challenge the Warriors for the first time in forever. I mean, you mentioned it. How long has it been since they were in the playoffs?
20 years.
I mean, that's crazy. The city's on fire. I'm riding Sacramento.
What do you value in the playoffs? Do you value the experience that the Warriors have with Andrew Wiggins coming back now and playing with Draymond Green, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson? I think the Warriors are scary. I think the Warriors win this series. Mike Brown's done a heck of a job in Sacramento, but I take experience with Steve Kerr in that group, championship pedigree over a young, eager team getting the playoffs.
So that's the big question is you've got one team that is always there. Think about it. Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, Draymond Green, among others. They're always there. They've played in a ton of playoff games. Nobody on that roster, for the most part, has played in the playoffs. And so does that show up? Does that become the deciding factor? Because athletically, Sacramento, even though you haven't heard of them and you haven't seen them at all, they're really good.
If Sacramento loses home court advantage in these first 2 games, are you going to stick with them?
No.
Okay. So you're saying Sacramento needs to win the first 2?
Absolutely.
I'm riding them because of the home court advantage. And, yeah, I agree. If they lose that they lose the momentum.
Their fan base will remind you of OKC when they first left Seattle and went to Oklahoma.
And let's not forget, this is an in-state rival. I mean, this doesn't happen, right? I mean, this rarely happens in the first round of a playoff. And to have that, what a way. I mean, this is huge for the NBA.
Well, and my guess is that Golden State goes home after all these games.
Right.
Because in the early rounds, they get separated by 3 or 4 days.
And it'll be
this is not going to be your normal NBA road trip.
No, and it won't be your normal NBA series, right? I think we've been starved of the NBA rivalries and lack of bad blood and real trash talk. I think you might get some of that between fan bases, between players, right? I mean, they want to defend their state, the state of California. This is going to be more fun than I think some people think.
Sunday, you've got this matchup of a traditional blue blood in the Lakers, now a 7 seed, a Memphis that, in recent years has started to get there, and they're a 2 seed. So they ought to be the favorite. But the problem is the Lakers don't feel like a 7. And frankly, for me, the Grizzlies don't feel like a 2. And the Grizzlies, their inconsistent play got them beat a year ago when they had Golden State on the ropes. I don't know where it's going, but I am fascinated by this.
The matchup to watch is the paint. Okay, if the Grizz can control the paint down there, the Lakers, I mean, they got Anthony Davis, but the Grizzlies can throw 3-4 guys at you and just kind of grind you down to a halt. So I'm looking for the paint matchup there. But, George, I'm nervous. If I'm a Grizzlies fan, I'm nervous. Because you've got LeBron James, Anthony Davis, experienced guys like David just said. I don't know about this one.
So 2 things that fascinate me with this series. The Lakers lead the NBA in free throw shooting, or how many times they go to the free throw line per game. That's going to be a key to watch, free throw shooting in this series. And another interesting stat, the Lakers are the underdog in this series, but the Lakers have a better championship odds than Memphis. So that's really interesting to see. No faith in Memphis really going far. They're saying if the Lakers get past the series, the Lakers could go to the finals.
And the Grizzlies have talked a lot. I mean, they have talked a lot of trash.
They need to shut up.
For an organization that hasn't done anything.
Well, Dylan Brooks has really embraced that role, him and Jaren Jackson as well. Then obviously what happened with Ja Morant. They're the bad boys of the West right now.
They are. They have become a hard team to get
the heel.
Well, they're a hard team to root for. I want to root for them, but at times I don't like what I see out of them.
No, there's not much character. But
I'm going Milwaukee over TBD. I think enough said there.
Good pick, George.
Thank you. Giannis, by the way, this is our Good Friday. If you're Greek Orthodox. So to Giannis,
your fellow Greek freak,
my fellow Greek, have at it, big boy.
It was really important for Milwaukee to get that 1 seed to avoid having to play both Philadelphia and Boston, who are probably going to match up at some point. So they get the free ride, in a sense, to the Eastern Conference Finals, where they'll play one of the 2 in what we would imagine.
That said, do I totally trust Milwaukee? I don't. They're not, in my mind, prohibitive as a favorite.
Yeah, I don't think they. I mean, you could argue that, but I don't. There's not. I don't know who's the favorite. I mean,
Billy doesn't like Boston. I like Boston in the East. They've been there before. Obviously, Milwaukee's won a championship, but Boston is so physical and
now has Kevin Durant, and that's great. The problem is he hadn't played with them much, got hurt, and so they're just now starting to get the chemistry. Do I think they beat the Clippers? Probably, but this will be a tough series.
That's the best series out of all of them. Kawhi Leonard, Paul George.
Out of all 8?
I would say so. Most talent-rich, I would say that. But Phoenix hasn't lost with Kevin Durant in the lineup. They're the championship favorite if he's healthy. So Paul George and Kawhi Leonard versus Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, that's a matchup I pay money to see.
The Clippers have been very disappointing the past couple of years. I mean, we came into this new era of the Clippers, I think, really excited about what they could do with Kawhi Leonard and some of the other star players that they picked up. They've just folded in the play. I mean, this is a big series for them and their fan base and their, the belief in that team and the front office. The last couple of years, I mean, I thought they had a shot at the finals both years, and they didn't even sniff it.
Last thing, TBD plays Denver. Denver's the 1 seed. 3 words about Denver. Nobody trusts Denver.
No, similar to the Clippers.
Yeah.
They're a team. Now, I'm not saying
now, they may get it done. Jokic may have to play out of his mind, but going in, nobody really trusts Denver.
Jokic is a 2-time MVP, but I think he really needs that NBA Finals to go on his resume along with Embiid. Those are the 2 players that probably need a championship the most. But,
I don't think either one of them are getting it.
Who do you think's getting it?
Ooh.
Who do you like, George?
Let me think about that. Let's go to the break. Eventually, I'll answer that question. Not now. Stat of the day, and then sticking around for. Stay tuned.
Hey, thank you for meeting with me today. The insurance company has made an offer.
Already? Wow.
They've offered you the entire policy.
Thank you, Blair.
You're so welcome.
Forget the fact that Sir Speedy Music City is owned by my BGA classmate James Warren. Their work stands on its own merit. James and his staff do incredible work, as evidenced by the huge banners at the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. If you're looking for quality to help your marketing and business communications, and you want it at a reasonable price, these are your folks. Call them at 615-832-9511 or go to print at sirspeedymusiccity.com. And be sure to tell them Plaz sent you. This is my buddy and former Nashville Sounds PA announcer Eric Berner. I always laughed in the old days at Greer Stadium when I would walk in, Eric would immediately play my favorite song, Van Halen's Jump. But then I learned he actually has a real job with Rockcastle Wealth Advisors.
Yeah, George, that's what I do. I help people in the pursuit of making their money live as long as they do. Everybody's situation is different, so I use a customized and individualized, personalized approach to the person I'm working with. Old 401ks, retirement planning, insurance planning, inheritance planning. Those are things that people like to get some more information about.
One of the things I find is people don't even know where to start, and that's where you come in.
Yeah, so I can usually help people with an initial phone call or meeting that is a no charge and no obligation.
And I'll bet you have a phone number and a website.
I do, George. They can call me at 615-235-1058 or rockcastlewealth.com or Eric at rockcastlewealth.com.
You can't see the sights without the sounds. From the crack of the bat to the roar of the crowd and everything in between. Discover what Hit City has to offer. Single game tickets are on sale now.
Hello, this is Celeste Middleton, a State Farm agent in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. I want to help my neighbors and local businesses be proactive and assess their risk before something unexpected happens. We want you to have a thorough understanding of your coverages to have the best protection when you need it. We can create a personal price plan for you. Our team has over 70 years of experience helping people in Middle Tennessee. We have an awesome team with integrity and provide honest and prompt communication, and we love what we do and genuinely care about everyone we work with at our office. Give us a call at 615-895-2700. Send us a message at celestemiddleton.com or walk in at our office at 803 North Thompson Lane in Murfreesboro. We would love to earn your business.
Welcome to John English Antique Sports and Cards, located at 204 East Depot Street in beautiful downtown Shelbyville, Tennessee. Their phone number is area code 931-492-4304. John, obviously, I've been blown away by what I've seen at your place. I've now been there 3 times. But for the person who's never been, what should they expect?
Well, we have a 3,000 square foot store, George. Half of it is vintage cards in all sports, and then half of the store is, a lot of people call it the museum, where there's a lot of early equipment and just the history of sports in general: baseball, football, basketball, golf, tennis, and other items.
When somebody comes in there that you know is a big sports fan, what is their normal reaction?
Well, I think that they're pleasantly surprised, and of course, being in Shelbyville, Tennessee, which is a small town that you would never expect a shop like we have to be in. So they're kind of, I don't want to say blown away, but as I said, pleasantly surprised.
Welcome back in. It's time for Stat of the Day, brought to you by John English Antique Sports and Cards in Shelbyville, Tennessee. You can find them at 204 East Depot Street. They're open during the week, Tuesday through Friday. Still open today, so go check them out. Noon till 5. You got about an hour or two. And then Saturdays, tomorrow, go check them out, 10 a.m. to 5, or give them a call at 931-492-4304. All right, George, no Kelly, no Watson. No David, no me. You're on an island today with Stat of the Day, and let's see what David has cooked up. LeBron James will compete in his 267th career playoff game on Sunday afternoon in Memphis. That's the most career playoff games in NBA history. Can you name the player with the second most career playoff games?
Okay, the obvious would seem to be Michael Jordan. And I just want to think this one through for a minute as far as people that were always in the playoffs. Now, he had the time when he went to baseball, but he also had the time when he came back. 6 world titles, playing probably 22 to, oh boy, I don't know. I'm going to say Jordan, and if it's not, then I've really got to go to the drawing board.
We'll go to the drawing board
because it's not
Michael Jordan. We're not going to gong you.
Oh wow,
this is a tough one. I don't know that I could have gotten this.
Okay, how far back are we going?
Not too far back.
Recent.
Recent.
Well,
I mean, he retired within the last 5 years?
Last decade.
Oh my Lord. I see Herm in the background, and I see him, I think, looking at that question. Herm, do you have a better answer than I do?
You said, who'd you say again?
I said Michael Jordan. To me, that was the obvious.
LeBron James. Michael Jordan. That sounds... It's going to be somebody else beside Michael Jordan. We know that, right?
Yeah, we now know that. And I appreciate the fact they didn't gong me. But if they had, here's how it would have sounded. Yeah, thank you.
Can you give me the time? The era?
Late 90s to about 2011, 12?
2015, I'd say.
15?
Scottie Pippen?
Late 90s.
2015, George.
Late
2015.
5 NBA championships, if I remember correctly.
Uh-oh.
Kobe?
No.
Think about one of the
Kareem?
best organizations.
No,
in
not
NBA history.
Kareem.
Go ahead and put it up there because we may be here a while.
Tim Duncan.
Oh, wow.
Tim Duncan, you're right.
251 career playoff games.
Tim Duncan.
You know,
yeah.
You think about it, Herm. As great as he was, did he really ever get the accolades?
No.
And maybe he didn't seek them.
No.
That's the kind of player he was.
Yeah, he wasn't that kind of guy.
What'd they call it? What was his nickname?
The Big Fundamental.
That's it.
Oh, he was a terrific
They had a good
player.
team.
Yeah. Yeah.
They were just under the radar. They always won. They were kind of under the radar. In San Antonio, it was like, okay. Well,
so bring Herm in here officially. Look at that trophy case. How many footballs have you got back there?
Oh, it gets, like, I don't know. It gets kind of, it starts over here.
Oh, man.
And then it goes from there and it goes here. Right?
Oh, look at that.
And then it goes over here. And then it gets better. Then it goes to the helmets.
Oh, wow. So
they're bringing back Buccaneer Bruce. Goes to see the helmets. And then it goes over here to the college helmets. Right?
Oh, wow. So this is one heck of a rec room.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, this is the miracle of the Meadowlands. This is how the camera guy gave it to him. That's one.
Oh, wow.
That's two. That's three. That's four. That's the ending. Right?
Oh, wow.
And so this is my Jet bobblehead. And the players used to have this in the locker room, and they'd have a hat on it.
Go down a little bit, Herm.
Yeah, go down just a little.
The Jet bobblehead, look how big it is. So I was the head coach. They had this in the locker room, right? And they had a hat. They had my Jet hat on there, and they said, "Coach, we don't have to practice today, right?" And they'd hit the head and go, "Nah, we ain't got to practice."
Even the worldwide leader doesn't get this.
No.
47 balls.
Oh, man, that is awesome. Okay,
so
that's
it's all
room,
good. I was
that's
very fortunate on a
we
lot
need
of
to
good
see
teams,
someday.
right? A lot of good teams, a lot of good coaches, a lot of good players.
A lot of great memories.
A lot of great memories. Like I say, this guy, he got into the Hall of Fame, right? That's Lynch.
Yeah.
My other guys getting in the Hall of Fame this year is Ronnie Barber.
Oh, wow.
Right, I coached them both. Had them both. Drafted Ronnie Barber, actually.
Will you be there when he gets in?
Yeah, I'm gonna go. And I'll probably see John and everybody there, a bunch of folks. Dick will probably be there, Vermeil, all those guys. Tony will be there, I'll hit
So
back.
I'm going to start this in a place that you probably would not say, okay, here will be his first set of questions. So beware.
Okay.
Earlier this week, we put a big discussion up, and it involved USA Today's terrific research on college football recruiting spending.
Ooh.
Okay, and I'm going to let you see this because it's pretty amazing. At the top of these big conferences, and I hope you can see this okay, are the top spenders all the way down to the lowest spender.
Yes.
They weren't able to get private schools like
Right.
a Vandy, TCU, Baylor. Here's what I want to know to start with. When you look at Georgia spending $4.5 million and nobody else is essentially within $1.5 million of them,
right?
Have we reached a point? I know it's not going to happen, but does college football need a football recruiting salary cap?
Well, they've already established their own with the NLI, right?
Tell me what you mean by that.
The NIL, basically, a lot of these schools now, and probably some of these that we see on the screen, they have a budget. Let's just say, I don't know, your budget's $20 million. And that is your recruiting budget as far as the name, image, and likeness of the guys that you want to go after. Certain schools that do it like pro football and say this: if you are an offensive lineman, you get X amount of dollars. They pay by position groups. Quarterback obviously is going to be probably the highest paid guy on your team, making that type of money. But I think that's what these schools are doing, like pro football. You heard Lane Kiffin say, "Hey, look, I don't even go after high school guys anymore. I'm going after transfers, guys that I've already seen play on tape at the college level that I can basically, bid on if they would like to leave, if they don't like where they're at this point in their college career." So that's kind of what it's become, right? I mean, look, and you know what? Now, but there's some good to this too now. The underlining is this. Some of these kids, rather than to go into the league, and I'm talking about basketball, football, women as well, they can stay in college and get some money and don't have to go to the NFL or to a pro sport right away, right? They can still enjoy college and, hey, I got money, I'm good. It's a wonderful life.
I'm waiting for one of them to have a press conference where they say, well, you know, I couldn't go pro because I was going to have to take a pay cut.
Well, I heard that story before in the locker room. And I won't even get to who it was.
So let me ask this, and feel free to say I don't want to get into this.
Sure.
Okay, go back on the graphic.
Mm-hmm.
You see in the Pac-12, you all were at the bottom at about 460, where Oregon was at the top at 1.8. If a school has to compete with that unlevel a recruiting budget, can they compete?
Well, you can in this sense. You got to know what type of athlete you got to go after, and then you got to go. You got to circle back after some of these guys go to these places and it doesn't work out well for them, and they're looking for another place to play. Right? Maybe the money that they were supposed to be allocated didn't work out because they didn't start or something happened. So there's different ways you got to do it, but the budget is the budget. You can't worry about that. But does it make it tougher? Yeah, it makes it tougher. There's no doubt about that, especially in today's world, because there's a market now for the student athlete, right? And they know it. The student athlete knows it. There's a market for me. I lost 7 players that were starters the previous year before my last year there, and the fact that they were good players, they were starters, and they got a better offer somewhere else, and they left. And you know what? I couldn't stop them, and I told them you need to go. To be quite honest, if that's what you're looking for, we're not going to be able to do that here, so you need to go somewhere else.
Herm, are we going to get to a point where some rational thinking comes in and some powers that be say, okay, wait a minute, this has gone too far. Now let's figure out something where these players get money, but it's not the quarterback getting 1.2 million and the offensive lineman getting, chicken wings.
Right. I think eventually this is going to settle down some, and there'll be a normal, I think the teams that are the teams, there'll be 50 of them or 40 of them that have enough staying power to continue to do this. Now, what happens with this is like anything else. When you get involved with this, and I said it on television one day. I said, look, it's easier to be a big booster in college football rather than trying to own an NFL team, right? Because there's only 32 owners. But can you imagine if some big booster is paying your university X amount of dollars? Eventually, he might want to say, and who you hire, and who you go after. I mean, that's the dynamics that people don't think about either, right? If a guy's paying this much money. I mean, so there's a lot of different there's a lot of unintended consequences that come along with this. And I think every university has to handle it in their own way. I think the head coach, the AD, you guys have to be on the same page, understanding what you're trying to do. But I think in a couple of years, it'll settle down. It'll settle in. It'll just be normal. It'll be normal.
Can we agree right now, Herm, that on the college level, the coaches are having whatever the fun meter is, less fun than they've ever had, and the only fun is winning.
Yeah, and even with that, winning sometimes, can hurt you as well. It's funny. Once the basketball season ended, college and women basketball, college, right? You see coming across the ticker of the worldwide leader, people putting their names in the portal, leaving, right? I mean, it's what you see now. It's just you anticipate it. You anticipate there's going to be some players that leave that were in the tournament that are good players, want to go somewhere else for some reason. I don't know why, but they decide to put their name in the portal. That's just part of business now, and everyone understands it. You can say, you don't like it. This is where we're at. You got to embrace it. And as a coach, you got to understand how to deal with it. And it's just, that's the way we do business now.
So Mac Brown came out yesterday with something to the effect of, we're the same as the NFL. We're now the NFL. And my gut feeling, I know Mac, but only because Watson is a co-host on this show, I get the feeling that it was easier for Mac to say it because he's 72 or 71 and he's not going to be in it much longer. But 51-year-old Mac Brown wouldn't dare say that.
It's hard to say it, but it's the secret that everybody realizes this is what it. Look, you're paying players, right? Basically, you're paying a student athlete, and some people say this should have happened, 20 years ago, but it's happening now, and whether you like it or not, going forward, this is what we're dealing with, and this new generation of kid. I mean, good for them. Good for them. I'm not gonna be mad at them. That's good for them, but it makes it difficult. There's no doubt about that. You can't get mad. You just got to move on, because at the end, like I used to say when I was in the NFL, Dick Vermeil told me this. He said, "You know what, boys? It doesn't matter who's available. At 105, they're kicking the ball off." And he was right. At 105, they're kicking the ball. Not at 1 o'clock, because they got to get those commercials in. Right at 105, ball's in the air. And all you got to get 11 guys on the field. They don't care how you got them, who they are. They're kicking the ball off at 105. I used to love it. I said, "Coach, it's 105. It's kickoff time." It doesn't matter. Nobody cares, right? Once the game starts, nobody really cares. This is a bunch of stuff to talk about on the offseason. It's great. They'll have the recruiting rankings and all that. But whenever they kick the ball off, the people are going to be watching, and that's all they care about. They're not going to care about how much players make. Now, it puts a lot of pressure on a young player all of a sudden, right?
Herm, I'm going to belabor the point and then get off of this, but this is what goes on in sports talk radio from people like me who think they know but maybe don't know. If the quarterback is getting 1.2, per year,
yes,
and the offensive linemen are getting wingy dingies, they're getting chicken wings. Why are y'all laughing over there? Wingy dingies. Wow. Okay. We all assume that at some point, if that $1.2 million quarterback isn't playing great, that you have all these problems in the locker room. Does it happen, or are we overrating that?
No, depending on what type of team you put together, everybody thinks they're worthy. And that's the sharp reality of it. Before we used to tell players that, look, everybody wants to play in the NFL. Then the reality happens, they have a draft. Guys don't get drafted. Guys get drafted, get cut. And all of a sudden, the reality of it, it's hard to play in the NFL. Yeah, that's correct. Every player now coming out of high school thinks, well, I should get paid. And once the reality is, you know what, this guy gets paid this, and you only get paid that. There's this hard, really? Yeah, really. And some of them's egos are so involved, along with parents, that this becomes the conversation you're having with them, right? There's a lot of unintended consequences with this now. It's more than just what you see, the in-depthness of it, talking to parents, talking to the kids, making your team understand, okay, like you say, the quarterback gets X amount of dollars. Well, the first thing you better tell the quarterback, hey, look, you better take care of your teammates. You take the offense out, do things to involve these guys. Don't sit here by yourself thinking, well, I got my money, because you need these other 10 guys on offense to help you. You need this football team to help you win. So that guy has to deal with that at a young age. What if you're a high school player, you're 18 years old? How do you deal with all that? Hard enough trying to get your classes.
Herm, couple of things on the pro level. A Giants fan, should they be concerned about this whole Saquon Barkley not signing the tender?
No, I think eventually he's just making a point. I think he's a little bit he's a little bit upset in the fact that, they had an opportunity to either franchise him, obviously, and the quarterback. They got that deal done with the quarterback. And so now he feels like, well, I played better than the quarterback. I'm the star on the team. Now, I don't know that, but I'm just saying that it feels like that, right? But here's the problem. Running backs they're not like the quarterback, right? You have to have a quarterback. And if that's your guy, you got to go all in. Dak Prescott, hey, that's their quarterback. They're all in. Chicago Bears, Fields, you know what? We traded out of the pick. He's our guy. And I think sometimes other players that are good players get upset at that when they feel like I've carried this team for the last couple of years, and you're going to give the quarterback his deal, but you're not going to give me my deal. And plus, you play running back. That doesn't help you.
Yeah. So I want to kind of pick your brain as somebody who's been around this pro football stuff. The rumor keeps coming up that the Titans are approaching Arizona about the number 3 pick. The Titans right now are sitting at number 11.
11, yeah.
And to be honest, to me, they don't have a ton of stuff to offer Arizona. You know better than I do, so I'm going to ask it. How would the Titans put a deal together if they really wanted to move to 3? Is it even possible?
Well, anything's possible. I mean, obviously, you got to give some picks away, not only this year, but next year, and maybe a player or two. I think the Titans are in a unique situation. Is it a reset mode that they're going in, or is it a rebuild mode? And I'll say this. If they're trying to move up, it's not a reset mode. It's a rebuild mode. Because basically what they're telling you, we got to go get a quarterback. And we're willing to do all this to go get him. I mean, that's what they're saying. Are you in the reset mode or rebuild mode? Well, if you're trying to move up, you're not in the reset mode because you know what you're moving up to get, quarterback. Well, you're going to have to give up. You're going to have to give up some stuff, right? Look at what Carolina had to do to get to Chicago, right? So just think of it that way. And if that's what they're really saying, they are not in a reset mode. They're in a rebuild mode. And it's going to start with the guy you need the most when you're trying to rebuild as a quarterback.
Okay, let's end it this way. Why has the worldwide leader not asked for a tour of that room? And they're missing out.
Well, I don't let everybody in here. You understand?
Well, I know. No, I feel very blessed. I mean, this is big stuff.
Well, look, the camera they have for me, it must weigh almost 200 pounds, so you can't move it. It's just in stone. It's right there, right? It's just a big old monitor. It's like I'm in studio, so you can't move it around and get all the views of it, right? So I gave you guys a personal tour.
Billy, do you realize what that is worth on the open market?
What?
Hey, I tell you what. I'm gonna tell you what. The next time we do this, I'm gonna go in the workout room. And there's a whole different atmosphere in that one now. There's some other stuff in that one now. I mean, I got Reggie Jackson baseball bat. I mean, I got
really.
Oh, Reggie Jackson lives right down the street from me. He's a good friend, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. But Reggie Jackson bat is black. It's beautiful. I got all kinds of stuff. That's another room. That's I only got 2 rooms in this house, basically. This is my office and the gym, and the rest of the house belongs to my wife.
That's beautiful.
That's it. I got 2 rooms, basically.
You are the best.
Appreciate
Don't
you.
ever let anybody say you otherwise.
Next Monday, I got to go, man. I'm going to the worldwide leader. I got to go in there.
So you're there the whole week?
Well, now I'm there on lead Monday, and I'm there Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, actually. Yeah. Going to the mothership.
Out to the mothership. Worldwide leader and mothership. Any other names?
No, that's it. That's what it is. It's the worldwide leader and the mothership. That's what it is, right?
Thank you for doing this as always.
All right. You guys have a great weekend, huh?
He is the best. He is Coach Herm Edwards, and we are very fortunate to have him on this show. If you didn't hear the news earlier, when we begin on Monday at 2:18, Baseball's all-time hit leader, Peter Edward Rose, will join us, and that guarantees to be pretty spicy. Stay tuned. We're coming back.
How am I going to get to work? My car's totaled.
Skylar, our team is making a call right now. We'll get you a rental car. Don't worry.
That's a relief.
Call us 24/7. We're here. We're going to help.
Year number 2 of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night was awesome. And the reason is really simple. I chose Strike and Spare, and they were amazing. They have great food, great bowling, and a staff that is truly ready to go the extra mile to help you. They have 5 family fun centers in the area to choose from. And for more info, go to strikeandspare.com or call them at 615-824-5685. Now that the weather has gotten considerably warmer, there's not a better place to spend a morning or an afternoon than Riverside Golf Links. So you've probably noticed the weather has gotten a lot warmer, and that means a couple of things in Nashville. It means baseball, and it really means golf. And for me, it's a visit to Riverside Golf Links. The course has improved dramatically. There are now 27 holes, including a 9-hole executive course. If you want tee times or more information, dial them up at 615-847-5074.
You can't see the sights without the sounds. From the crack of the bat to the roar of the crowd and everything in between, discover what Hit City has to offer. Spend your nights cheering on the Nashville Sounds at First Horizon Park with giveaways, fireworks shows, theme weekends, and more. Single game tickets are on sale now. Visit NashvilleSounds.com to claim your seat today.
Okay, let's talk a little 24/7 before we get to the NHL. Both the NBA and the NHL playoffs are basically here. NHL starts Monday. NBA really has gotten started. So are you betting on these playoffs? Well, today at Action 24/7, if you'll use the promo code George, you'll get a 300% deposit match up to $20 on your first deposit. Action 24/7 is Tennessee's only locally owned and operated sports book. And I say that they're local. They want local business, and they're going to treat you good because that's a real priority to them. Folks from Tennessee dealing with folks from the state of Tennessee. So download the app or visit action247.com to start all that winning, and please bet responsibly. Okay, NHL begins on Monday, and the truth of the matter is the Preds game tonight at home against Colorado will decide a lot of stuff. There's a lot on the line. These are the 6 playoff matchups that are a certainty. Guys, can you all imagine if Boston won all these games in the regular season, more than any team has ever won in NHL history, and they don't get out of the first round?
We've seen it before. I mean, these playoffs are, you have no clue what to expect. I mean, the Preds, they did it in the same season they made the playoff run against the Blackhawks. I mean, you just don't know. And the thing is, George, these teams are good enough to do it. The Panthers are good enough.
They are.
To beat the Bruins. Great home ice advantage. I think I've been to a game down there before. It's a great place to watch a game. And the Bruins, they got to travel. I mean, that's all the way up that East Coast. So that's another advantage, I think, potentially for either team. But, yeah, I mean, you never know about the NHL playoffs.
Carolina, I don't know what to think. A year ago, 2 years ago, they knocked the Preds out of the playoffs. Carolina on paper, I think, is better than the Islanders. But the Carolina I saw in here last week that the Preds sort of manhandled, beat 3-0. I came away going, okay, what is Carolina?
Yeah, they've got the potential. I mean, they've got a lot of talent on that team, great goaltending, but you've got to be at your best this time of year. And if you're not, you're going to be beat, right? The Islanders are another team that could upend the Canes. But, George, they're dangerous. When they're good, they are on, and they're a Stanley Cup team, right? But like you said, when they're off, they can very easily be beaten.
Edmonton, I'm going with them. Connor McDavid is a stud, period.
He's unstoppable.
Seems to be. What's the scoring streak he's on right now? It's ridiculous.
Well, he's got 152 points, 64 goals.
God.
88 assists. I mean, it's –
think
he
about
takes
that.
over games.
If you have 40 goals in a season, you've had a monster year. He's got 64.
For example, the Kings' best player, Anze Kopitar, has 27 goals, and that's pretty good.
Yeah.
But
not chopped liver, 64.
Unbelievable.
That's insane.
Well, and he's playing with Draisaitl, who, Mark talked about that duo. He got to watch them at Bridgestone, and that's probably the main reason he wanted to go to that game, right? Not that the Preds are going to win, but to watch that duo, that's how fun they are to watch. But, George, they're 2-seed.
I say we go boxing one on him.
1-3-1.
Tampa, Toronto, as we go to Tuesday, Tampa is not quite what they've been because winning all those championships gave them some real salary cap issues. They're still very dangerous. This is a series that feels like it goes 7.
Yeah, this is going to be a grind. Tampa's an old group, and I'm surprised they're still going, a lot of those guys. Kucherov, they're old, right? So they've got that experience that David talked about earlier in the NBA where that's dangerous in the playoffs. But I like Toronto here. I just feel like Tampa Bay, I don't know if you call it luck, is going to run out. But, surely they can't last another playoff run, can they? I thought the same thing last year, but they kept winning. So who knows? And they're really good at home.
So in the playoffs, you always hear about travel issues. But look at the Rangers in New Jersey. They can basically, both teams can go home every night to their home deal. It may not matter much at the moment, but whoever wins this series, a lot more well-rested than a lot of these teams that are having serious travel, most of it in the West.
Well, and that makes a difference in the NHL when you're playing hockey and you're skating. This might be different for a sport like baseball or even basketball. But hockey is one of the more tiring sports. So when you're able to sort of go to your backyard a little bit, if you're the Rangers or the Devils, that makes it easier. But this is another series like the California State Battle. This is another one that I'm excited to watch because whenever you get these Northeast battles between fan bases in the NHL, it's always so much fun, whether it's Boston and New York or whoever. Anybody up there in that region of the country, it's always fun when they meet in the playoffs.
So the last one, and it obviously has Predator stuff to it, Winnipeg at Vegas. If the Preds were to win tonight against Colorado.
And for reference, this would be the series, the Preds.
This would be what they would have gotten. So Vegas is really good. Although the Predators beat them a week and a half ago in Nashville, Vegas wins this series, and I think they win it in 5. I just don't see it.
Yeah, me neither. It's incredible to me what Vegas has done in the first several years of being a franchise.
Well, all the rules were stacked for them.
Right. But I would love to look back, and I know the NHL is different, but has any expansion team ever started off this good and really dominant? A 1 seed, how many times last several years? I know that first year they were a 1, right?
And
they were up there.
Seattle is going to be in year 2.
Right.
So it's a lot easier than when the Preds and Columbus and some of those teams came into the league.
Whether it's fair or not, who knows? But
I don't think it's fair.
Me neither. But you also got to go out there and prove it. You know, you've got the talent. And hockey's a sport where you might have talent, but you might fail to hold up your end of the bargain. So I think it's been really impressive what Vegas has done.
So the question got asked earlier, who's going to win the NBA and then who's going to win the NHL?
Mm-hmm.
I kind of think in the NBA, it won't be the Dallas Mavericks. Did y'all like that?
Did you see they got fined $750,000?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And they should.
Basically giving up on the season.
Oh, yeah. They tanked. There's
That's
no
an
question
embarrassment.
they tanked. I kind of think the world champion is going to come out of the West.
Think so.
I do.
I wouldn't be surprised. I don't like the East, mainly because I don't like Boston.
You've made that clear.
I just don't see them as a threat. There's nothing that scares me about Boston, right? I mean,
and yet David.
Well, my mom's
a
big Boston fan. So
Yeah,
I'm
but you got to
biased.
have something better than that.
The duo of Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, they went to the finals last year. They got the taste. You could have said they were the favorite last year against the Warriors and didn't get it done. Revenge tour this year, trying to get back. So I like Boston. Defensively, they're really good. And that's getting stops defensively in the NBA that doesn't play defense, as you like to say, George. That's big. But, if anybody's out West is going to win it, in my opinion, it's Phoenix.
That's
Phoenix.
where I'm going.
You're going Phoenix?
Yeah.
You going out West for the NHL too?
I think they figure out, Edmonton.
You like the Oilers?
I do like the Oilers.
Think it's their time?
Maybe.
It feels like it.
If this doesn't work, let's burn this piece of the tape and then move on to something else. Speaking of which, we will wrap this baby up when we come back.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
Hockey in Music City just hits different. It's one big honky-tonk party. It's the sea of gold in the crowd, the goals, the saves, the celebrations. It's an experience like no other. Experience Predators hockey all season long. Visit NashvillePredators.com/season tickets and join the Loyal Legion today. That's NashvillePredators.com/tickets, and we'll see you at Bridgestone Arena.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank & Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank & Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank & Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Family owned and operated for more than 2 decades, Alaco Fine Wood Floors is Nashville and Middle Tennessee's choice for premium quality hardwood floors. Since 1995, Jimmy Alaco and his army of employees have embodied the approach of taking pride in one's craft and providing superior customer service, growing from a one-man shop to a team of 23 professionals who share the founder's passion for quality craftsmanship and customer satisfaction. If you are interested in contacting them, you can find their headquarters at 2505 Winford Avenue in Berry Hill
or give them a call at 615-356-0303. Again, that's 615-356-0303, or log on to alacofinewoodfloors.com. Alaco Fine Wood Floors, serving Middle Tennessee's hardwood flooring needs since 1995.
At Baird, we have a different slant on global financial advice. That global capabilities mean nothing without personal attention. We have investor relationships in 35 countries and market expertise in over 40 industry verticals, all to help make the most important investment connections of all, yours. Global financial advice with a client-first approach. It's the shape of things to come. Discover the Baird difference at bairdifference.com.
Hey, thank you for meeting with me today. The insurance company has made an offer.
Already? Wow.
They've offered you the entire policy.
Thank you, Blair.
You're so welcome.
To say we're excited about our new digs at the Fordyce Center in Bellevue is a huge understatement. Special thanks to Sean Henry, Danny Butler, Joel Butcher, Dan Williams. Man, they have made our life beautiful. One of the things we're going to try to do is take advantage of this beautiful facility. The first thing we're going to do is create a Wilson Bank and Trust Summer Sports Speaker Series. Try saying that 3 times in a hurry. The first of those will be Thursday, April the 20th at 11:30 in the morning. It'll run until about 12:45, and the new Predators General Manager Barry Trotz will be our guest. Stay tuned for more information and for more announcements. We are thrilled to be at the Fordyce Center, and thanks to all of you for watching our show.
Hello, this is Celeste Middleton, a State Farm agent in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. I want to help my neighbors and local businesses be proactive and assess their risk before something unexpected happens. We want you to have a thorough understanding of your coverages to have the best protection when you need it. We can create a personal price plan for you. Our team has over 70 years of experience helping people in Middle Tennessee. We have an awesome team with integrity and provide honest and prompt communication, and we love what we do and genuinely care about everyone we work with at our office. Give us a call at 615-895-2700, send us a message at celestemiddleton.com, or walk in at our office at 803 North Thompson Lane in Murfreesboro. We would love to earn your business.
Final segment on a Friday. Man, it feels good to say that. We are here at Fordyce Center in Bellevue, the beautiful Fordyce Center. We got Plaster's Bet of the Day coming up, brought to you by Bart Durham Injury Law. They are lawyers that you can trust. Give them a call at 615-242-9000 or log on to bartdurham.com. All right, let's check out what happened last night. You had a couple of bets on the table. New Orleans, right? Or it was just one. It was Nashville. I get caught up with all these bets.
Just the Preds.
Just the Preds.
Mm-hmm.
My apologies.
Yes.
And the Preds got the dub.
Darn tootin' they did. So
that turns your attention to this weekend.
Yeah. So Billy, I'm going to give 3 picks.
You got it early from David.
Yeah, that's okay. We're gonna give you 3 picks. Okay, we're gonna start tonight. And let me say this: these play-in games, the favorite has not been covering. So beware.
This is a dangerous pick, George. Remember what I told you?
I know it is. Do I think Minnesota is better than OKC? Yeah. Do I think there's more pressure on Minnesota to close the deal? Yeah. Do I think they're going to get it done? Apparently I do.
I guess.
What's the difference? Edwards.
Anthony Edwards.
He's not going to have 2 crappy shooting nights in a row. If he does, they're out.
And you're out too.
Yeah.
All right, what we got next, Dave?
Okay. I believe that this game is way more important to Sacramento than it is to Golden State. And here's where I'm going with that. Golden State's likely to come in with an attitude that says, if we lose game 1, so what? We've lost game 1s any number of times, and we've won world titles in spite of it. Sacramento, on the other hand, tomorrow night is like a Super Bowl for them. It's a game they have to win. Their crowd is going to be juiced up. They've paid out the you-know-what to get in. This is sort of the litmus test for Sacramento, and I believe that they will end up passing the test, and they will win in a pick'em against Golden State.
Pick'em.
Pick'em. That's what it is.
I like the pick.
Then we go to Sunday, where I think there's a lot of pressure on Memphis, but there's also this automatic belief that, oh, the Lakers, they're going to win it all. They've solved all their problems. No, they haven't. Now, have they gotten better? Absolutely, they've gotten better. Is LeBron healthy? He appears to be.
He looks healthy.
He does look healthy. Is Anthony Davis healthy? Seems to be. But Memphis is a much deeper team than the Lakers. And that may play a part in all of this. I think the Grizzlies win and they cover.
Do they win the series?
Boy, I don't know.
That's a tougher one.
I think this is not going to be anybody's sweep.
No.
This feels like it's got 6 or 7 written all over it.
And doesn't it also feel like the Lakers have built up the season for this moment?
Because they've had nothing
series?
else to build up for. I mean, what they start out 2-49. They started out horribly. They were able to right the ship, probably because LeBron didn't let the thing sink.
Yeah, that right there, right the ship. They've got it righted, it feels like. So that's what scares me if I'm a Grizzlies fan.
It does. So anyway, that's where we're going this weekend. Now to a couple of program notes. I'll start with this.
Programming.
Ready? He'll be on our show Monday at 2:18. Okay? Much more need to be said. That's baseball's all-time hit leader.
Nice
permanently barred from the game of baseball as of this moment. Thursday of next week, the Wilson Bank and Trust Summer Sports Speaker Series begins, and we welcome back to town the new Predators GM, Barry Trotz. He takes over as the GM July 1st, although I don't think there's any doubt he's heavily involved right now. Thursday, we will do what amounts to a get off of work for lunch kind of deal that you can come out and see. Correct?
Yeah, George, is going to be awesome. 11:30 start. We'll go to about 12:45, and you got the email option there at the bottom of the screen, plastergeorge@gmail.com. We've got
not an option. You need to email me.
Well, we've got the Facebook, way of doing things as well, where they can say they're going, say they're interested, things like that. So there's a lot of ways to signal if you're going. But again, if you do want to go to this event, all you got to do is email plastergeorge@gmail.com, and George will add you to the master calendar or whatever you want to call it there.
So to say we're going to have a crazy week next week is an understatement. All of you have a great weekend. Drive safely wherever you're going. Join us Monday to hear from Pete Rose.